Hello, hello. It's I really want to start off by acknowledging all the speakers before me this morning and this afternoon. It's wonderful to have this shared space with an audience that we can share all our ideas and our thoughts, and hopefully there's going to be lots of dialogue and conversations about everything we've heard about today. I know there's going to be lots of chats at the lunch break. So really, I want to start off with a few questions for everybody. I'd like to see a show of hands of anybody that's been to the cinema in the last, let's say, 2 months. Hands up. Okay, most people. How many of you have sat at home and watched a film on the TV? Hands up. Everybody, great. Hands up who's actually gone to see a professional play in a theatre in the last couple of months? Hands up. Very little. Okay, great. So today I'm going to talk to you about theatre, and particularly some of the advances in theatre technology and in particular projection design, and how it's kind of changed in the last couple of years, or how I think it's changed in the last couple of years. So theatre is an immersive art form. It requires a live audience and live actors. I'm not an actor, but live actors on a stage, and that they're sharing this the same physical space at the same time. And this kind of reciprocal relationship requires presence. You know, that you have to be alert, and you have to have a sense of connection. You have to be listening to what they're saying, and you've no distractions. It's not like when you're sitting at home and you're passively watching the TV. You can't pause live theatre. You can't take out your phone. You're not allowed to take out your phone. You're not allowed to check your emails. So this exchange is really kind of a dynamic engagement, you know. So it's kind of, that's the power of theatre. So usually theatre consists of a dramatic text, you know, with action and characters and dialogue. But it also has the ability to it also is enhanced by you know, lighting design and sound design. It can be live music, there can be dancing, and everything else in between. Set and costume design, which I do. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff that kind of helps the story along, you know, on stage. So theatre's kind of been around for thousands of years. It's sort of, you know, across the globe, many civilizations. It's hard to know, did it come from ritualistic practices, or perhaps it was like a primal desire to, you know, share stories or connect to other people. But really, when one human stands on a stage in front of other humans, they're really trying to share their own experiences, or tell a story, you know. So theatre is very versatile. It's got multiple uses throughout all them throughout all the civilizations over history, for sure. But you know, it also has the ability to address pressing social issues. It has the ability to, you know, it can be a platform for marginalized voices to be heard and validated, you know, through their own diverse experiences. It can be a place for culture and tradition to be celebrated. You know, stories and customs can be preserved through theatre making. And really, it acts as a catalyst, you know, for that social change I was talking about. But also that, like, you know, people can go to the theatre and then critically reflect on their own experiences, their beliefs, their behaviours, and potentially change them afterwards, you know, with the conversations that they have after the theatre with their friends, or to other people that haven't even gone to the show, you know. So them kind of exchanges afterwards are really, really important, much like the exchanges we'll all have later too. So but anyway, moving on. I want to talk to you a little bit about my own work in the last couple of years. So I'm a theatre maker, so it's sort of a newish term people use when they kind of do a few different roles in theatre. So I'm a director and a designer, so I design sets and costumes and projection media. But it also means that you sort of create work from the ground up. Like you sort of, you know, you have some source material and you create a show out of that. And it can be writers or directors or producers or lots of other people involved in creative teams. But I do focus a lot on digital media for the last couple of years, so projection design in particular. And what that is it's, you know, video content and images, animations that are then projected on the set or on the actors or the costumes or anything else that's on stage. But we use like mapping software and stuff, so we can kind of isolate it onto certain items. It's not really like a screen like this most of the time. It's not a backdrop either, you know. It's sort of, it can be a It can be it can convey a feeling or an emotion or an intention or an internal feeling of the actors or the characters, So it sort of it transcends a little bit further. So during COVID, I want to. There's another image of one of my designs. So during COVID, I the theatre industry was sort of grounded to a halt. Film and television became they were essential services. They were essentially distracting everybody from everything that was going on. Watching Tiger King and all that, and we all did Zoom quizzes, and we all found out what Zoom was for the first time, and now we can't seem to get off it. But so Zoom, and we were all kind of looking for that connectivity, So the theatre industry, of course, grounded to a halt. We weren't allowed to do anything, but and it was quite devastating that first year. People had writer's block. Nobody knew what to do, and after a while, theatre companies started looking at technology. And especially like filmmaking and recording shows, or getting some actors on a stage with all the precautions in place and no audience, and trying to live stream it online. And other people, other theatre companies were playing with VR and AR and all them AR kind of stuff, and then they also tried motion capture animation as well. A few of them, so there was a lot going on. Anywhere you could experiment, it happened because of the lockdown, which was really interesting. So I actually got up to, I always had an interest in asylums in Ireland. There's loads of them. They're all decommissioned now, but I grew up in Grangegorman in Dublin, right beside an asylum. And so I sort of had this interest. So during the first year of the lockdown, I started looking at all the asylums, lots of stories, witness testimony, and it kind of grew and grew. I looked at St. Connell's here as well, and St. Columba's and Sligo. And I ended up interviewing past patients and staff and family members and stuff like that. And I started gathering lots of source material, especially images. This is archives from one of the asylums that I gathered as well from online, nice open source stuff. But so then I started approaching a play to create some work about Irish asylums in particular. It did end up being about one woman's experience, so and lots of other things. And but we started off. You've seen an earlier image there of a Zoom, that was the very start of it. We just did a little Zoom reading of a few scenes, but we then went to outside. It's a site in Sligo. It is a former psychiatric site, and we were outside because it was still one of the lockdowns and that. So what's happening here is you see this actor in the centre sitting down. She is actually, this scene comes from witness testimony of a woman who was in an asylum, and she was there for far too long. She shouldn't have been there for that long. And anytime she approached nurses or doctors about getting out, they gave her the same answers all the time. And she just kept getting told the same thing for 20 years, and it was awful. So what we workshopped that day was we had the two other actors just circling her, repeating those same words over and over again. And you can see that there is an audio visualizer there. So what's happened is that line is reacting to her voice. So, the more she's stressed, the higher her voice goes, the more it wobbles, and the more tension that it ensues, So, we played around with lots of projections that over 5 days at that site. This is just one I decided to show you today. So you can see that. We can see that the projection here is sort of, it's creating that tension. It kind of looks like a heart monitor. It looks like it's because it's going big and small, and it's doing all these sort of stressful things, and you can really feel the tension even though you can't hear it. Now that's my opinion, but I'm sure you can all figure out what you feel when you watch it. Then the next thing we did the following year was, this is actually, we were allowed back on stage, yay! So, but we still hadn't got an audience. So we were experimenting in the Hawkswell Theatre with multiple different images. This is an image of a canteen in an archive, actually, or in an asylum. We had 3 actors. That's the musician as well, the back of her. And so the play was starting to form at this time. It was starting to be written. The writer was in the room too, Rona Trench. And I worked with a glitch artist, digital artist called Owen Wolfrey, who did most of the glitch effects that you see. So during this time, I was really interested in glitch. So what glitch is really is, for those of you that remember your old TV that used to have the lines on it, or, your VCR wouldn't work, that kind of stuff. But now we've kind of built up this visual language of glitch, We've sort of it's sort of deeply embedded in our own digital culture that we kind of have all these sort of these languages that we've learned through everything we watch and all the consumption of digital media that we get. So I'm really interested in glitch at the moment, and my research is really kind of going down that pathway. I'm going down rabbit holes everywhere for the last 2 years. So yeah, so that's kind of what we did there for Slip is the name of that play. So right, well, realistically, my point really of this whole talk is that, you know, we are usually passively consuming media all the time with all those distractions and that. And theatre is starting to change now because of everybody that's experimenting with digital technology. And you know, I know people like to go to the theatre to sort of get away from all that, but also what if we do introduce those digital languages into theatre more so? Now, it is happening, lots of theatre makers are doing this more so and everything, but I'm saying that, you know, we've experimented that much now in the last few years that I feel like there's a real shift in how theatre makers are making work, and I think there's a shift in audiences as well. We expect more, you know, but not just spectacle. We just expect sort of, you know, to feel something, you know, to feel every level of emotion that we can possibly feel when we're in theatre, you know, through the actors, through the set design, the lighting design, sound design, and now hopefully some digital media as well. So again, I just want to say thank you so much for having this opportunity to stand here on this stage and have an audience and have this connection. It's so much better that this isn't a Zoom talk. So, as mentioned before. So yeah, it's just such a privilege to do this. And like I said, go out and have them conversations and talk to everybody about everything you've learned today. Please go to the theatre more as well. That'd be great. But you know, it's about changing minds and changing opinions about everything that we see in the world that's gone on today. So that's it. Thank you very much.